What's up, welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Skeleton Crew, the latest Star Wars series, premiered the first two episodes on Disney Plus, 8 episodes in total for this season. Skeleton Crew is from John Watts, one of his first big projects following his work on the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. Of course, we got his other big project, Wolves, on Apple just a few months ago. And Skeleton Crew stars Jude Law and a bunch of child performers because this was pitched originally as a Amblin-esque coming-of-age story in the Star Wars universe. And I think in a stronger time for Star Wars storytelling, that's actually a pretty awesome pitch. We always think about the Star Wars sandbox in terms of it's such a rich and vast universe that just so naturally compels that you can tell all kinds of stories within it. And something like this actually feels kind of right at home on the small screen. We wouldn't necessarily want movie resources dedicated to this type of story, I think. We kind of want the more epic scale on the movies. I think that goes without saying. But this perhaps makes some sense on the small screen. Unfortunately, Skeleton Crew is existing in a different era than when it was greenlit. Star Wars and Disney Plus in general is just kind of in a fraught place when it comes to what we have. You think of Star Wars on Disney Plus, and we know there's an Ahsoka season 2 being written by Dave Filoni. He confirmed he's still writing it at the premiere of Skeleton Crew. Therefore, there's actually nothing in production on the live action front after Skeleton Crew. And of course, this is coming on the heels of The Acolyte getting canceled after one season earlier this year, Mandalorian season 4 being switched into a movie, which we know is releasing in May of 2026. They actually just wrapped that filming last week. So as a result, Skeleton Crew is the last live action Star Wars series we're going to get in a while. And frankly, this series finished shooting at the beginning of last year. It's just kind of been on the shelf, right? So after Andor comes out in a few months, which we already know is its final season, there's going to be nothing for some time. And you just think that if Star Wars was in a better place, there'd be a lot more enthusiasm for Skeleton Crew. I'm just not really sensing a lot of that right now. If you evaluate Skeleton Crew just on its merits and you take away the fact that it's not coming in the best time for Star Wars storytelling, it's not the number one type of show that Star Wars fans are asking for right now. If we leave that to the side, I actually think it is pretty charming as like Amblin, Spielberg-esque space Goonies with Jude Law. I think that's a decent pitch. Coming of age, Lone Wolf and Cub, these are like really familiar storytelling beats, even in Star Wars for sure. What remains to be seen with Skeleton Crew is the success of these child performers, because I think spending time with young actors is always very hit or miss. I'll actually be curious if Skeleton Crew ends up becoming popular with younger viewers. Obviously, Star Wars fans span generations, and maybe this will not be something that's necessarily appealing to older fans, but might have something to offer for younger fans or a way into Star Wars. Who can say? I think there is some merit to that. I thought visually the show was pretty strong thus far, whether it was the suburbs in the beginning or the cool spaceport on the asteroid in the second episode. Visually, it's there. The story certainly remains to be seen. Will this mystery amount to enough of a propulsive plot? We'll find out. We've only just met Jude Law's character, so there's really not a whole lot to go on with him, although we do know he is a Force user. Of course, the identity of Jude Law's character, is he a former Jedi? What part of the timeline are we actually in? Because all these kids are from a planet that no one on the spaceport knows where it exists, and it's like some legendary thing. I'm curious how that's all going to be resolved, because ostensibly Skeleton Crew is taking place in the New Republic era, post Return of the Jedi, aka the Mandalorian stretch of time. And, in a different time, a different universe of our own, where Star Wars was humming and had more of a connected storytelling approach, you would maybe expect to see Skeleton Crew link up with Mandalorian in some kind of capacity, and that would be really exciting. That's not the world we live in, so I don't have a lot of faith in that happening. But I'm just kind of curious about what's going on more than anything else. And yeah, I mean, I think like there's not a lot of hype to the show. I think it's probably almost certainly a show with a low ceiling, but as a result, it's probably not going to be taking any massive swings the way the Acolyte did, which I gave the Acolyte a lot of credit for its swings, even if a lot of them didn't necessarily land effectively. Again, that kind of speaks to the Star Wars storytelling approach right now. We're throwing lots of paint at the wall, and we're throwing different colors of paint, and we're throwing them at different walls. And that doesn't often feel like congruous storytelling in terms of a brand, but there can be things to latch on to and enjoy in the moment, for what they are. I think a lot of people are looking ahead to Andor season 2 because that is a show exclusively for adults in a way Skeleton Crew is not. So, yeah, I think the kids are okay thus far. Not a whole lot really to them yet. We'll see if we get invested in their journey. Not that young performers, young characters haven't become popular in Star Wars. Of course, they have. Think of Omega on the Bad Batch quite recently. Of course, that's an animated character. We'll see. But yeah, I think more than anything, it's just I just find the timing of the show a bit unfortunate because I have a feeling a lot of people are not going to give the show a fair shake, and maybe the show will be just mediocre when it's all said and done. I don't know, but I do find its kind of quirky, off to the side nature at least a little bit interesting because it's at least slightly something different than what we've gotten recently. So we'll see how that holds up. That might only get us so far. We'll find out. And yeah, as I said at the beginning, like the place where Star Wars is right now is just fascinating to me. Before we know it, Andor will be out and be done. And let's say Skeleton Crew doesn't get greenlit, there'll be no live action shows in the pipeline except for Ahsoka season 2, which is going to be coming maybe at the end of end of 26, mid 26, not coming next year. Hasn't even started filming. So we have the Mandalorian movie in 2.5 years, and that's still it. Star Wars is still struggling to get its momentum and its feet going. And I don't know. It's just a bit disappointing that we're still in this place, but we'll see what happens. I again, like I said, this feels like a show of a different time because you think about the Marvel shows have also dried up on Disney Plus. There's not a lot of them left to release. There's really none of them in production right now. So the strategy continues to shift, and I think getting Star Wars back on track on the big screen is number one priority. I think everyone's kind of in agreement on that, and I think wishful thinking perhaps, but we'll probably hear a good amount of news at Celebration in 6 months' time. Hopefully, some updates on the previously announced movies. I think a lot of people don't exactly put a lot of stock in movies that get announced and people get attached to. Recently, we had the was it Simon Kinberg movie or movies in the trades just a few weeks ago. Apart from the Mandalorian and Grogu, which is actually real and tangible, we have nothing to latch on to yet until proven otherwise. So, Skeleton Crew and Andor will be the best, the last of it, I think, at least in live action front. They'll be for some time. Animation, I would expect to hear from next year in some fashion. Is that a Star Wars Visions 3? Is it the announcement of the follow up to the Bad Batch? Who knows? But yeah, let me know. What do you think about Skeleton Crew? What do you think about Star Wars in general? There's a lot to ponder on, a lot of meta aspects of the release of the show, what's going on, etc., etc. Let me know what you're thinking. And for more movie reviews, TV reviews, Star Wars reviews, subscribe. I'll see you next time.